YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with my updated power rankings heading into Week 10 of the NFL season. Do these every single Tuesday morning based on how teams are currently playing, not end-of-the-year predictions, so teams decide where they are ranked every single week here. Excited about these. We have weekly content, always adding more, so join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on, follow us on Twitter. A lot going on there, always talking with you guys. Links pinned in the comments for that. Anything else you're looking for, including our sponsors, Liquid IV, GLD Shop. GLD Shop has some NFL jewelry, regular jewelry as well. Giveaway going on with them. Links pinned in the comments. The power rankings, Cardinals remain at number 32. They're going to get Kyler Murray back, but the whole team is playing worse as they're getting him back. They'll be better with him, but not really a good sign. 58 yards passing this week. Don't score a single point against the Browns. Pretty tough, so you can't move them up. Panthers. Defense seems to be playing better. Offense, pretty tough outing for them. And Bryce Young, 3 interceptions, couldn't get much going. So they remain at. There's bad teams in football this year. There's a lot of bad teams. There's not a handful of teams that feel like, yes, they are for sure good. And there's a bunch of teams that feel like they're 32. Like most years, they would be 32 based on the way they're playing. These two teams, and there's more than that, feel like the Giants are a number 32 caliber team. Just only one team could be there. So I know the Giants are beat up. There's a lot of teams beat up. I think they're poorly coached right now. The players are playing poorly. They don't have the talent as well, but that's just where they are. I think last year was kind of like a fluky type thing. So that's what it looks like at least right now. So those are three teams that are probably worthy of 32. The Bears are pretty close. I mean, they had a dominant win against the Commanders and Raiders, so I wouldn't say they're deserving of being 32. But and they put up a fight with the Saints this past week. It just turnovers were pretty sloppy, but they remain at 29. I think the Giants, Panthers, and Cardinals are those three teams at the bottom feel like number 32 teams. But again, only one can be there. Patriots moved down a spot. Yeah, it's a pretty tough one because I don't think things were really going the Commanders' way, and the Patriots still couldn't find a way to win. Just mistakes, not executing. It's at home, got to win that one. They don't, so they're at 28. Packers up one spot. Before this week they've been looking pretty bad, but they do get a win. But they do play the Rams without Stafford and other players, including Kyren Williams. But they get a win. They'll move ahead of the Patriots. They're at 27. The Raiders do get a good win against the Giants, like a bounce-back game. But overall, they've been playing pretty bad football. I just don't really see enough to move them. Like the Giants, as bad as they are, is that quality of a win? Is it just one of those games where, because the coach was fired and they got a new coach hyping them up, it just seems to happen a lot. So want the Raiders to go out and prove some more here before moving them up. 25, the Bucs are down 4 spots. They're on a losing streak. I mean, the positive is they scored a lot of points. Like they were impressive offensively against the DeMeco Ryans Texans defense, but they lose and they're on a losing streak. So when you go on that much of a losing streak, you're going to move down. It's just tough to move down any further in this because definitely feels like they're a better team than the teams below them, despite being on the losing streak, and the offense, finally played, fairly well. So, but they are at number 25. Falcons are down 5 spots. They're playing worse recently. Outplayed completely by the Titans 2 weeks ago, and then beat by the Vikings when they have a disaster at quarterback. You guys know what happened in that game, that situation. It's a game the Falcons you cannot lose. You cannot lose that game based on what was going on going into it, and based on what was going on in the game, and they found a way to lose. So they are down 5 spots to number 24, so not ideal for them. Broncos going to stay put. Yeah, they were getting hot. They didn't play this week. They're going to stay put. Titans are going to stay put as well. They lose a close one to the Steelers, though they put up a good fight, and they're playing better at Will Levis, it seems. It's a tough one for them. Yeah, I thought about moving them down and Broncos up. The Broncos on the bye, though, have they been doing a whole lot in general? How's their resume stack up with the Titans in general on the year? There wasn't really enough there to make any movement I think the Falcons and the Bucs actually moving below the Titans because how disappointed I am helped the Titans not move even after losing as well. Commanders up 4 spots. The tough one because pretty good win. You don't even have your pass rushers because you traded them and you get a win. Things weren't really going your way. You get a win. You barely kind of escape then, but you barely kind of escape. Well, I do think things aren't going your way, but you also kind of outplayed the Patriots by quite a bit. So I think you shouldn't really come down to that tipped interception at the end to not go to overtime or whatever was going to happen for the Patriots. That's the downside, but yeah, overall, I think they show that they're better than the Patriots, and there was some doubt in that because they were in New England and they were missing their pass rushers because they're no longer on their team. So a game like that kind of proves they're not quite in that tier. Maybe they're not too far off, but they're up 4 spots to 21. They got some help with other teams like the Falcons and the Bucs having to move down. Rams stay put. They lost at the end of the day. Don't put a whole lot of stock into that game given the circumstances, who's in, who's out. But also got some help. Again, Falcons and Bucs needing to move down. Was Washington deserving of being ahead of them? I don't think so. So a lot of factors went into them not moving despite losing, kind of like the Titans. The Colts are up 5 spots. Now, are they up 5 spots because they beat the Panthers, number 31 Panthers? No, it's part of it. It's a small part of it, really. Again, sometimes you got to look at what's going on around them. They won, needed to hop over, some of the teams that didn't play or some of the teams that lost. Should the Commanders be ahead of them? No. I mean, the Falcons and the Bucs had to move down below them. So that kind of played a part. But I guess when you look at the Panthers game, yes, they beat a bad team in the Panthers, but look at the specifics in the game. Something we've been downing from the Colts recently, something we need to see is the defense step up. Here's your opportunity, not against the best offense, and the defense stepped up in a big way. Does it mean their defense is back and it's good? No, it doesn't mean that, but this is a week-by-week power ranking thing. It's what they showed us in that game. So I do think that helped. Winning, how they won, what's going on around them in the power rankings. So they moved up 5 spots this week here. 18 is going to be the Jets. They're down 3 spots. Yeah, that offense is pretty brutal. Zach Wilson's brutal. The offensive line's brutal. What I hate about them is they take their good old time when they're losing by 2 scores. They end up losing by more than 2 scores, but let the play clock run all the way down while they stand there. I put that on coaching, and people will say, well, yeah, heck, it stinks. I put that on head coaching, actually. Stuff like that. And just Zach Wilson's just not smart enough to play the position in the pro level. That's been proven. The Jets defense is so solid that they're at 18. They only moved down 3 spots, basically, and they do have 4 wins. I'm not really sure how they have 4 with a lot of luck in there, but they do have 4 wins, so it's tough for them to be below. And the caliber defense they have, it's tough for them to be below the other teams that are below them right now. So they are at 18 despite having an ugly loss at home in prime time. 17s, and the Texans going to be up 1. Very impressive. Very big storyline with C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell, this offense putting up that many points. Crazy momentum win. The defense still did struggle giving up that many points, and it took last-second score to win. So you really got to look at it to say, they probably, it's hard to move them up a ton, but I am very much impressed with the offense and where it is heading. They are moving up 1. And you could argue they're deserving of moving up than that. I suppose it's just with the other teams, there's not really a whole lot of room to do so. Chargers also up 1 spot. Good win against the Jets. Want to see them beat good teams, though, going forward. But they looked pretty solid on both sides of the ball in that game. So was somewhat impressed. So they're at 16. Saints won, but they're actually down a spot. I moved up the Steelers 2 spots ahead of them. The Steelers, just impressive finding ways to win. I like that they got the running game going against a really stout run defense in the Titans. Kenny Pickett got going a little bit more. Deontay Johnson really got going. Clutch at the end of the game on defense. So they're finding ways to win ball games. The Saints, I love the secondary. I love it. They create plays. It's a big part of football. They make plays to win the football game. They create turnovers is what I mean by making plays. There was times throughout this game where they were getting outplayed by the Bears, though. There was times where the Saints didn't look as good as they should. So I thought there was enough for the Steelers to hop them. If the Saints would have went out there and taken care of it, like if they looked pretty good, it would have been impossible to move them down. So that's kind of what happened there, like somewhat of a rare. It's been happening a little more this year, but moment there. But Steelers able to get more going in their game. But having a pretty good season, so they're up 2 spots to 14. 13, the Vikings are going to stay put. Clutch win against the Falcons, despite not having Kirk Cousins and a lot of injuries. Actually, no Jefferson, no Darrisaw, no Cam Akers goes down. So just looking like a well-coached, pretty talented football team despite who's in there, and they're on a winning streak. But, being on that type of winning streak, it's usually you move up, just not a whole lot of room to move up. Pretty close to hopping the Bills. The Bills still feel like they're underwhelming, but they still feel like a pretty decent team. Could spread the ball out to different players. The defense isn't playing as well because they are beat up right now, but they do move down 2 spots still. Tough running into the Bengals when they're getting hot Sunday night in Cincinnati, but they are still down. You still lost, still a little disappointed. They're down 2 spots, number 12. 11, the Niners end up staying put. They had a bye. Let's see if they can figure it out this week. A tough game against the Jags. Browns up 2 spots. They beat the Cardinals, so not the biggest accomplishment, but 0 points, shutout for the defense. Deshaun Watson gets rolling. It's a good win still. It's a good win. Helps that the Bills lost, so the Browns will move up 2 spots to number 10. Seattle maybe feels like deserving of moving down more. 2 teams in the same boat. Miami, the same thing. They only moved down 1 spot. It's just, do you move these teams below the Browns, the Niners, 3-game losing streak? The Bills, they're struggling. You just can't. You just can't. But both these teams, you question a little bit. Can they play better? Can they play, well against good teams? You do question it a bit there. So that's kind of what's keeping them out from being with the big boys. At number 7, the Cowboys down 2 spots. Overall, they played pretty decent. They had an opportunity to beat the Eagles. The calls definitely didn't go their way, so it's tough. But, again, they played pretty well. Like, Dak played better than expected. They actually got the run game going maybe a little bit better than expected. Not that it was great. CeeDee Lamb had a career day pretty much, so but they can't find a way to win. So that's kind of the tough part with the Cowboys as well. But still a top 7 team. They're down 2 spots. Lions had a bye. They stay put at 6. A team moved ahead of them while a team moved below them. The Bengals moved up 4 spots. They're heating up. They're looking good. They're looking like the Bengals right now. They're looking like, Joe Burrow's looking like Joe Burrow. T. Higgins is looking like T. Higgins. Defense picking it up, looking more like the Bengals defense. So they're really getting going right now, beating good teams. They have recently have wins against the Seahawks, have wins against a double-digit win against the Niners and the Bills. Very impressive. They're balling, so they're making it. We thought they'd make their way back up, but they actually have to go and do it for it to happen in the power rankings here. So they are up 4 spots into the top 5. Number 4, the Chiefs going to stay put. If they would have finished the game like they did in the first half, it would have been tough not to move them up, even though there's no teams in the top 3 like you really could move down too much. But yeah, a little stale in the second half, and they did escape with a win, but they did outplay the Dolphins in Germany, so it was impressive. Jags had a bye while the team that was 3rd looked absolutely dominant, so kind of pushed the Jags down a spot. And the Ravens look like the number 1 team in football right now, but it's impossible to move the Eagles down as the only 1-loss team in football, and then beating the Cowboys. Things kind of went their way in that game, but they figured out a way. They made clutch plays they needed to. They win the game, so it's impossible to move the Eagles down. But the Ravens, I'd say if you put it this way, like, who would you not want to play? I don't know why I have a hard time saying that. I was trying to say it in a different video too. Who would you not want to play, like, in football if you had to pick one team? I think it would be the Ravens. Like, right now, how they're currently playing. But look at the entire resume. Eagles having 1 loss, getting some statement wins. Again, impossible to move them down. But the Ravens moved up a spot. The Lions win was extremely impressive, and now the latest one, the Seahawks win, extremely impressive. Just better on both, just a clear better team, better on both sides. But they looked better when they put their backup. They put Huntley in. Running game getting going with Gus Edwards and Keaton Mitchell. They even have Justice Hill, but passing game has been solid. They didn't really need to do a whole lot in this game. But Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, that top duo kind of linking up. Their defense just as stout as ever, so looking really good. So they're playing some good football. And the Jags, don't forget, even though they had a bye, they are on a streak, and they're playing as good as anyone as well. But again, they had a bye, and they'll play the Niners this week. It'll be Niners at Jags. That's going to be something. It's going to be a hell of a game. So really excited about that. What other good games we got? We got trying to think of the top of my head. The Bengals play the Texans. The Texans be pretty sneaky. The Vikings play the Saints at 13-15. Lions Chargers. It's in LA, 6 versus 16. That could be pretty good as well. Browns and Ravens, 10 versus 2. So got some good games coming up. Got some good teams on buys this week. So excited about our picks videos, our score predictions, bets, all those videos we have come out every single week. Hopefully you can join us for all those. That would be much, much appreciated. Links pinned in the comments for anything you're looking for. Twitter, other videos, playlists, sponsors, giveaway. Check them out. You won't regret it. But that is going to do it for this one. Thanks everyone for watching. Goodbye.